my fellow Americans. Today we're going to be taking another look at Soundful. I did a video on Soundful a while back, but they have an update that I think is very interesting. If you understand the difference between Soundful and something like Suno or Udio, at the moment, Soundful doesn't do any vocals, but the generations it produces, besides being reliably coherent, they actually provide stems and MIDI information, which means that if you do music production, you can use all that different information to really go a lot deeper than what Suno or Udio allow you to do. That being said, the generations have a lot of limitations compared to what Suno and Udio are doing. However, there are also some other generative AI that are trying to do the same thing that Soundful is doing, but they've always had a hard time doing rock music. So I thought it was very interesting that Soundful put out a rock series. So in this release, we have indie rock, pop metal, pop rock, post rock, and psychedelic rock. We're going to go ahead and take a listen to some of the generations that this can do. And then I'm going to show you how I've been using it in a project that I'm working on. So first, let's take a look at indie rock. Here's some of the generations that other people have done. Bit of a synth pop kind of vibe if you ask me. Let's check this out. Honestly, not super impressed with what I'm hearing right now. Let's go ahead and let's try. Go down here. Let's do an original generation, not something someone else has done. Honestly, from what I heard from indie rock, not super useful, honestly. Let's, we want to do a preview, but it'll apply changes. Right, their preview. So indie rock is a very broad genre categorization. I feel like there can be a lot of music that qualifies as indie rock. I think it's not going to be able to really, I think, approach all the different variations of what people consider indie rock music. Now it's got some cool stuff to it. I like some of the melodies here. I'm going to go ahead and save this. All right, let's back out to, let's go back to rock. Pop metal, this is an interesting one. I actually think, I've tried a few of these, and I think that there are some useful, I don't want to say the whole arrangement usually, but there's some useful loops and riffs and sort of hooks. Nice. The guitars sound like shit, but the idea is there. So good at cave, that sounds cool. Try doing similar to that one. See what we get. I really like the rhythm of the guitar. I almost wish it would just stay in one note. It's cool. Kind of, like I said, I would like it to sound a lot darker. It's got kind of an upbeat sound that I don't appreciate as much. I do like in general some pretty good ideas that it has with the rhythm. I think I can see myself using some of this in a project. Doesn't really sound like metal to me, if I'm being honest. Let's do one more so we can get something that's a little more representative of heavy metal music. I guess it's pop metal, so you wouldn't consider it heavy metal. Well, I mean it's all heavy metal, I guess. But I guess what I was saying is I would like to hear something on the heavier side that's not trying to be upbeat pop sounding, Let's get some metalcore. Some metalcore in here. It would be really crazy if they did death metal. They never will. I'm quite sure of it. But that would be funny. All right, let's back out of pop metal. Let's go to pop rock. So as you're getting here, pop rock tries to go for kind of like a pop kind of vibe. I wanted like, contemporary bullshit. Here, let's go. I would like it to have the option of going faster. That's the one thing about the rock genres. You don't know if you wanted must have felt. Okay, let's do one more. What's going on? Here we go. Oh, I actually didn't like that. I was doing that at the beginning. It's modeled after, guess post rock would be like bands like Long Wise, Seymour Ross, sort of cinematic, Russian circles, cinematic, usually instrumental music, I believe. Yeah. Come on. Should have just dropped into something heavy right there. Again, I would like it to come in a lot heavier, but I think there's a lot that I could do something with this track down here. Yeah, I'm saving that. All right, let's move on. Rock music. One more that's left here, psychedelic rock. I think it's pretty interesting, actually. I've heard some really cool stuff come out of this. I think I've heard all of these. Let's start with crypto here. Obviously, a heavy use of the organ. To me, it sounds really true to psychedelic rock genre, or at least when I think about psychedelic rock. These are much longer songs too, and I guess that's pretty typical in the psychedelic rock genre. Really one. Bit repetitive. I think with psychedelic rock, usually a lot of times you have one of the instruments doing something more progressive. You think of the Doors, or there's just always some keyboardist just freestyling, just jamming away. Usually kind of annoying in my opinion. Try something a little. I'll look at this. That's cool. I don't know who settles on the pictures they use, because this looks like shit. Looks like they just randomly chose the first picture that came up. Dolly 2 or some shit. Here we go. Yeah, it's cool. You know, one thing that's missing is crazy guitar solos that psychedelic rock is known for. Apparently, it doesn't have a soloing engine in it. So those are the five genres, and you know, by themselves, you can't really use it for much. But here, I'll show you what I'm doing with one of them. Here's this track that I went with at the end of the year. So I took this, I did something with it, and I'm about to show you. I specifically selected the BPM and the key to fit a project I was working on. I actually would have liked to have done a much higher BPM, but that was all that allowed me to do. So in Suno, I created a bunch of generations using the same lyrics that I came up with. Actually, Suno came up with like 4 bars, and then I edited them, and then I iterated upon them, and I wrote a song based on that. But I'll show you some examples of the Suno generations, and then I'll show you what I settled on to make the vocal track. On my bedroom ceiling, lost in the echoes. And I should say that the goal is, you know, using pop rock music is to make something that's emo-esque or emo adjacent. Of my own true feeling. We didn't know we were the outcasts. We didn't care about where we were at. I'm staring at the posters on my bedroom ceiling, lost in the echoes of my own true feelings. I execute rhythms. As you can see, the prompt I used here was emo rock, emo pop, alternative rock songs, similar to artists like Jimmy Eat World and Early November. They, I believe, if you make a prompt to try to sound like another artist, I think Suno will shut it down. That's why I use the phrase artists or a song similar to artists like. Thought that using that would cause it to not have an issue with me calling out some artists here. If anyone's toyed around with that, just kind of knows where the limit is with what Suno is willing to tolerate as far as calling out other artists, let me know. It's actually something I should take a closer look at. But I got away with it with this prompt. So here's another example. Staring at the posters on my bedroom ceiling. Black, where is Warped Tour at? We didn't know we were the outcasts. We didn't care about where we were at. Guitar chords, skateboards, windmill. So I also want to say that I did do some generations in Udio as well. Udio is really impressive, and honestly, it was more artistic. And it was more something that I would actually listen to. This actually, I think, was better at hitting the that at producing a generation that is what I was thinking of. Like Suno hit it more on the mark of what I was describing, what I was aiming for. But Udio created a generations that I actually would prefer to listen to more, which is very interesting. They weren't as usable. Probably just as usual. I just didn't want to have to. And with Suno, they can produce a 2-minute song for you. It'll do 2 of them instantly, you know, and you can run a bunch at the same time. You can do 10 at the same time, and it'll generate them all pretty much at the exact same time. So you have all this content to work with. With Udio right now, it just takes a while to work with it, and I didn't want to take the time to do that. Although I will with some projects for sure, depending on what I'm going for, because I know that Udio can do certain things that Suno is not as good at. So, but these are some examples of the initial generations I used. I created using the lyrics that I decided to use for this. And here are some of the generations made it into this project, but it's really these first 2 that I ended up using. I'll give you an example of what this sounds like. These ones sound like. Okay, here's another one. We didn't And you can probably tell that this is slowed down a lot. This was originally 195 BPM. This was 139. So I brought it down to 150, which was close to the, not real close, but it's closer to the maximum of the pop rock limit, which is if you do a generation with pop rock, max is 125. So I got as close as I could without totally blowing out this one. That's at 195. But as when you slow it down, it doesn't really matter because I'm using Musicify to improve the vocal sound. So then I bounced both of these out, brought them into Musicify, brought them into the stem splitter. I brought just the vocals out of it. And then I brought the vocal track back into Convert Voice. I converted them to, I picked one of the royalty-free ones, Marcos, and the other one was Juice World. They both sounded good, but Juice WRLD he's got a perfect voice for whiny emo music. So I ended up sticking with that one, and I'll give you an example. First, so here's the end of the year. This is the instrumental track I used. And here is the project that I ended up bringing that Suno. Like I said, I split the Suno generation and split the vocal stem out of it. And then I changed the vocal stem to Juice WRLD. And this is what I ended up with. Now, keep in mind, these drums are temporary. I do plan on getting a real drummer to do some more Travis Barker-y kind of stuff on this, and may re-record guitars. I think the bass sounds fine. I think the vocals sound good. But here, you just give it a listen.
Talk chords, same chords, windows, or
So you may have seen in some of my other videos, it's hard to work with male vocals. Usually I create a female vocal and switch it to a male vocal. In this case, I didn't have to because the original sample was a high enough pitch as a male vocal that I was able to capture it. In addition, I tried out some other post-processing to the Suno sample to improve, and I did a little testing to see how I can get the best translation over through Musicify. And I will do a video on how I did that upcoming soon. But I just wanted to give you an example or show you what can be done with one of these Soundful generations. Also, keep in mind, I replaced the guitar that Suno generated with this. Let's see, yeah, this is Odin 2. I just realized I actually need to double up on that. That needs to be more like this. So I need to take that. Let's do more like this, yeah. I'll do that on my own time. But another really interesting thing to know, and it's a big downside, and I hope that soon our Soundful resolves this soon. But with the rhythm guitars, when I dragged the MIDI in, it didn't have the actual power chords. It just had the root note. So I actually had to bring in the seventh and the octave up here on all these myself. A little bit of work, not too much of a pain in the ass, except for in one of them, can't remember what it was, but there was something that it was an arpeggio. I'm pretty sure, yeah. It was an arpeggio, but when I brought it into the project, it just had one note, which obviously that arpeggio needs to be either, it needs to be chords, no matter what we do, chords or the individual notes along the chord mapped out, in the piano roll, but it ended up just being, yeah, like I guess that means it's a sample. Maybe they have a bunch of these guitar riff samples. Something's cheesy and fishy about the way they're doing this compared to the EDM genres in Soundful. I don't like that, but there's still a lot of good, useful stuff in these projects, especially if you never played in a rock band before and you don't understand how to produce rock music. This can help you get an understanding of the different types of percussive elements and percussive tropes, and then how good power chords and also just the staccato rhythms and different rhythms in rock music to produce different sorts of genres or evoke different types of styles. It's the best for what I've seen of the AIs that are attempting to who are actually producing stems and MIDI and some of the other really useful information for professional music producers to work with. This is the best one at doing rock. There are also some other new genres. There's some stuff in ambience and then lounge house. Pretty good. I liked what I was hearing there, but that's pretty much it as far as Soundful updates. I'm also thinking about doing some other things. Maybe you can let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. You could drop a comment down below, but I'm thinking of doing some live streams where maybe some of you guys, some of my followers can come on the live stream and give some input and we can generate some songs and convert them over to vocal tracks. And then I would just be happy to give them away to some of you guys. Of the people, I guess one thing I want to know is how many of the people who follow my channel and view my videos, how many of you have a digital audio workstation and know how to produce music using, more traditional production techniques, not using AI? How many of you, know how to use automation and know what a piano roll is and know how to use all these different features of a DAW? And how many of you are just people who have an interest in AI and art coming from a background in music? Also, I've been doing the Barack Obama voice, as a lot of you have pointed out. Part of the reason is because the way I speak and the voice that I have translates pretty well to Barack Obama's voice. But there's a lot of other voices available here on Musicfy. Go ahead and drop a comment. Let me know what voices you'd like me to try. I did try to do one in the
Darth Vader voice. My girlfriend thought it was a little intense. She talked me out of uploading it.
Let me know if I should do the Darth Vader voice or another voice like that. We got Mario, we got Homer Simpson. We got a bunch of people who I don't know who they are.
Hank Hill's a good one. But yeah, go ahead and leave me a comment. If I get a lot of people requesting one specific type of voice, I will upload the next video in that voice.
Thank you for your time. I hope you found this interesting. I look forward to catching up with you again in the future.